Newport Huston is followed by Frank Clark, then Lisa Clark.
I'm here as a mother of 3 children under the age of 8 to speak about the vagrants who've taken residence right next to us on Venice Boulevard. Last year, when Measure K was put on the ballot and passed, we were told that our property taxes would be raised and we should be okay with it because it was for the children. What I want to know is what part of having vagrants live right next door to us is good for the children? Is there some life lesson in seeing drug fiends shoot dope in the open or in seeing criminals deal drugs in broad daylight? Are there some unheard of benefits that our children will gain by stumbling upon human feces and used needles? Is there something valuable to be gained by exposure to diseases like Hep B, HIV/AIDS, typhus, and ultimately the plague? What about knife fights and violence? What can our children gain from that? If there's anything to be gained, I say we open up the experience to the rest of Culver City to Police District 1, for instance. And that brings me to my second point. Why is it that city codes and laws are selectively enforced? Why is it that police can tackle a vagrant down to the ground, right in front of watching children in District 1, but when we residents of the outskirts of Culver City call about violent, disturbed behavior and open drug abuse, our complaints go unheard and unanswered? We are told nothing can be done because of the Ninth Circuit's ruling on the matter. But as I understand it, nothing in that ruling says that vagrants can or should be allowed to take up permanent residence on the street. Nothing that says they can lay about at all hours of the day. Nothing, in fact, that even permits them to sleep on the streets unless it's established that there are no vacancies at a shelter. Lastly, we are told to be compassionate. How is it compassionate to let the mentally unstable, a danger to themselves and others, fend for themselves in the streets? What compassion is there in enabling drug users in their addiction? And finally, where's the compassion for the hardworking taxpayers who foot the city's bills? And where's the compassion for our children who have to witness the worst kind of degeneracy? Thank you.
Frank Clark will be followed by Lisa Clark.
My name's Frank Clark. I live at 3800 Block Globe Avenue. And Madam Mayor, I want you to pay attention instead of looking at it down when we're speaking, because I feel disrespected, because our concerns is not just for us, but for our children. And as you guys let Mr. Bonham bully you guys into taking the load off what Los Angeles is not doing, we become the new West Side homeless Skid Row. Thank you. This is what our block is. This is what our neighborhood is considered now because of you not allowing the police officers to do their job. My wife was threatened, and one of the reasons why I'm here today is because, you know, they know where I live, they know what time I go to work, they know where my wife works, where my wife drives, what kind of car she has, they know my children, and there's nothing that you guys are doing. Nothing what you guys are doing. I know where you live, you would not allow this. I guarantee you, if homeless people start walking down your street, shooting dope, doing all these things that you're allowing them to do by not allowing the police officers to enforce the laws that are in the books, you would not put up with it. And I'm saying this to the council and everybody here. I'm holding you responsible for anything that happens to my block. Anything. So as you know, if you get a lawsuit coming up because anything happens to my block, it's because of me, because you allowed this to happen. Because you're responsible for the safety of the citizens of Culver City. And right now, you're not doing a good job at it at all. Thank you.
Lisa Clark.
Hi. I live at 3800 Block of Globe, and I was threatened by 3 homeless people, and I have a report. They know my car. They know where I live, and they watch me every day as I leave my block, and they know my children. And the police, they said they'll patrol our street, but there's only so much they could do. That's why I'm here today, because they asked me to come talk to you. And I have a report, a police report. And they said they could only do so much because you're only allowing them to do so much. And they would like to help me more, but they can't because of you. And I have my police report.
So what are you going to do to help us? What are you going to do to help us? I want to get this on record. I want to know what you're going to do to help us, our block, for the situation that you allowed.
They said, you're a dead lady. That's what they told me, right in my face. And I have a report.
Nothing? This is your actions, nothing? You can't tell us anything that you're gonna do to protect us? You're stunned or what, you don't know what to say? What, I just wanna know, you're not saying nothing.
This is your time to speak.
Right, and I'm
We
asking
can
you a
make some
question. What are you
comments
gonna do to
afterward.
protect
This
our
is not time for back and forth, but we can respond at a later time.
When?
I'd welcome
I'd like to get that in writing.
police
I'd like
report to
to
be
get a
submitted to
date.
the clerk.
Police report?
Yeah.
I'd like to get a
Okay.
date, something that we can do this where it's not blowing off. Because I came to you like 6 months ago with an issue, and you told me we'd get back to you. I email who I'm supposed to email, and they don't ever get back to me. I've been blown off for the last 6 months on a whole different subject. So if we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna make a date, let's get it here on record. So when you guys don't show up, then you can turn around and say, oh, it wasn't me. Guys, just give me a date. I'll be at your office anytime.
Thank you.
And Mayor, finally, we have written comments from